everybody, my name is Carly Davis. I'm a PCSO at Nuneaton Police Station, or a Police Community Support Officer. I've been very kindly asked to read your Sunday story this week, as I will be the PCSO that will begin and run the Junior PCSO scheme that will start at the end of February into March for a group of Year 6 students. So just as a way of introducing myself, and so you can become familiar with who I am and what I look like, I'm going to be reading a particular story called Rue and Sarge, and it is about two rescue dogs that are at Springfield Dogs Home. Rue is a cockapoo and Sarge is a retired police German Shepherd. So let's see what their story has in hold for them. Okay. It was a gloomy grey day, and Rue the cockapoo was looking out of her kennel window waiting for visitors at Springfield Dogs Home, where she'd been living for a few years. Rue had been brought into the home because her owner could no longer look after her. She had lost her eye some years ago, so had to wear a patch for protection. Rue had many friends at Springfield. She had seen lots of lonely dogs arrive and then leave with their tails wagging when a new family adopted them. She'd always felt very sad that nobody wanted to take her home. She knew it was because she had a patch on her eye. Her best friend was a retired police dog, Sarge the German Shepherd, who used to help his detective owner with his police work. Sarge had done some amazing things helping to keep people safe. He had lost one of his legs in the line of duty, so had to retire. Sarge always reassured Rue that one day they would both be chosen to go home with a new owner, who would appreciate their company. Their kennels were next to one another. "Come on, Sarge and Rue, time for some fresh air," shouted Mr. Croshaw, who owned the home for dogs. Sarge could still walk and run, even though he only had 3 legs, and Rue could see very well, even though she only had one eye. "Come on, Rue, I'll race you on the field," barked Sarge as their kennel doors opened. "Okay," woofed Rue. Off they ran. The dogs' home had a huge field so that they could get as much fresh air and exercise as possible and mix with their friends to play and chat. "Oh no, look," barked Rue as they raced around the field. "There is a sheep stuck in that fence." They both ran over to the sheep. "Are you okay?" barked Rue. "No, I'm stuck on the wire attached to this fence," bleated the sheep. "What's your name?" asked Sarge. "Blossom," cried the sheep, sounding very upset. "We'll get help," replied Sarge, thinking of his police training. "I'll stay with you," barked Rue. "Sarge will go for help." Sarge ran back towards the home and barked to get the attention of the owner, Mr. Croshaw. "What's wrong, Sarge?" asked Mr. Croshaw, puzzled. Sarge continued to bark loudly. Mr. Croshaw knew Sarge well enough to know that something was wrong. "What is it, boy?" Sarge started running towards the exercise field, and Mr. Croshaw followed. They could now see Rue with Blossom the sheep. As they reached the fence, Mr. Croshaw shouted, "Oh dear, we must get help from the farmer." Blossom let out a loud bar and tried to struggle free out of the wire. "Don't worry," Mr. Croshaw said, stroking her head. "We will help you." Mr. Croshaw had been showing some visitors around who were now looking on with great interest. They were hoping to adopt a dog from the home. Mr. and Mrs. Battersea, with their daughter Ruby, who had been also adopted from the age of 2, had come to choose a dog. "Look at those 2 dogs there, Ruby. Aren't they wonderful? They have helped bring attention to that poor sheep who is stuck in the fence," said Mrs. Battersea. Mr. Croshaw contacted the farmer, who arrived at the fence from the opposite side. "Oh dear, Blossom, we will cut you free, don't worry," Farmer Todd reassured the worried sheep. Sarge, Rue, Mr. Croshaw, Mr. and Mrs. Battersea and Ruby looked on with great delight as Farmer Todd cut Blossom the sheep free. "Hurrah! Well done, Rue and Sarge," they all chorused. "What wonderful dogs you are, Rue and Sarge," said Mr. and Mrs. Battersea. "They're fantastic. Can we adopt Rue and Sarge and take them both home with us? Pleaded Ruby. Mr. and Mrs. Battersea looked at one another. Rue and Sarge looked at one another too, with huge smiles of hope on their faces, wagging their tails. Mr. and Mrs. Battersea could not refuse. They both replied, yes, they are both perfect. Rue the cockapoo and Sarge the German shepherd were so excited that someone finally wanted to take them to a new home. So there we go. This story was actually written by Christina Gabbatas, who is an English author, and I believe the inspiration for one of the characters was from one of our police officers, so a really good, appropriate story for you guys, I think, with me being a police community support officer. So I hope you've enjoyed the rest of your day, and thank you for letting me read to you guys. Bye!